Good morning, you guys. It's Karen, and I can't believe this day is here. Watson is going to be 1 tomorrow, so it's his birthday tomorrow. Watson, for those of you that don't know, is my Australian Labradoodle puppy, and he's still considered a puppy right up until he's 18 months for his breed. It depends on the breed. That was something I wasn't aware of, because when I was looking at foods and whatnot in the beginning, I asked somebody in the Pets at Home and then looked it up myself, and that's the way it is with his breed. He's a puppy till he's 18 months. But even now when I say puppy and people see him, they're like, oh, he's a big puppy, you know, as if to say he's not really a puppy. He doesn't look like a puppy most of the time, but I can see it when he runs and that he's still got that kind of happy-go-lucky. And I feel like he'll probably be that type of dog that's always got a little bit of puppy about him, because we were saying that like in his obedience class that he goes to yesterday, and also at, where's the other place? Oh, at the daycares that he's been at, he's the class clown. You know, we've been told that several times. He makes everybody laugh because he's clumsy, and so he'll just randomly fall off things or bump into things, which makes people laugh. He also will always stop what he's doing and randomly say hello to people, you know, or stop play and then suddenly want to say hello to somebody. And also Kev was saying, like last night, at the obedience class, he was obedient for the whole first half, and then he just decided he was over it. And there was one bit where you were to get them to sit, then lie down, sit, lie down, then get up again, you know, then stand. It was sit, lie down, stand, that kind of thing. And he just decided he was going to roll on his back and chew his lead, and everybody was in stitches. And then another time the door opened, the tea lady was coming in, and he shot out the door and went into the kitchen, you know, so he's always making people laugh. So anyway, I wanted to do this video today. I've been thinking about it over the last I was going to say the last week. I've been thinking about it since I've got him, really, the kind of lessons that he's taught me. And I occasionally do these Q&A videos on my beauty channel. Do I put it on there, on here? I can't remember. But I got a couple of questions asking how different is life having a puppy, and has it changed you, and things relating to Watson. So I thought, you know what, he's taught me. I actually counted them out in my head. I was saying to Kev, what do you think of the things that he's taught me, and has he taught you anything? And he's taught me 5 things. A couple of them are kind of related, you know, and you could probably reduce it to 3 things if you like, but there's 5 things that he's taught me. And I thought, for 1 year's work, not even, because obviously we got him when he was 10 weeks old. So we've only had him for 10 months, not the full year. That's pretty good work, you know. So I wanted to do this video and say, this is what, in answer to those questions, and also just for my own, you know, to look back on and watch, this is what he's taught me. The first thing that he's taught me is that money can't buy you love, I suppose, is it in its most simplistic form. And not that I ever believed money could buy you love, but I am somebody that definitely, like for birthdays and Christmas, I go overboard, and everybody knows that about me, that I go overboard and that I'm very thoughtful, and I, you know, remember things that people have said throughout the year, and then we'll buy them something related to that, or and like I said, I go overboard, like particularly with my dad. And well, I don't buy for that many people at Christmas, but for my dad and Kev, I go overboard. So that's kind of my instinct to do that for Watson. And with it being his birthday, I wanted to like give him the perfect day, even though I know he's not going to know it's his birthday and it's more of a celebration with us, but I still wanted to give him a good day, you know, and for it to be his birthday and we did something special. And I have got him a few presents, and I've wrapped them up, and there's a couple of toys in there, and there's a bone in there, and I wrapped up a box of tissues. It's kind of funny, but it's just, he loves tissues. So I thought, you know what, let's give him his whole box of tissues so that he can just rip them to shreds and go hell for leather, you know. But I was saying to Kev, when I thought it through, I thought about having a party as well with other dogs, but when I thought it through, the things that he wants that would make his perfect day, and not things that money could buy, like going for a walk is all he'd want, and that doesn't cost anything. He'd want to play with other dogs, and that doesn't cost anything. What would be absolutely amazing for him is to go to a new place for a walk. And again, that doesn't really cost anything. You know, we just need to go somewhere new and different. The other thing that he'd love is for me and Kev to be together on his birthday, because he acts very differently when we're both in the house. He kind of is more fun-loving, and he plays with his toys a bit more when we're both here. And so it just kind of proved to me, I guess that's the thing, it proved to me that money can't buy you love. And with him, it's like, well, I'm not having a party because I haven't really got enough room in here. You know, dogs need big open spaces. And I think just taking him for a nice walk and letting him play with any other dogs that we meet is kind of what we can do for him. So We are actually making him a special dinner. We're making him pork and potatoes. That's what he had on that exclusion diet, but he absolutely loved it. And we know that it's really good for him. So we're going to make him that tonight, and there'll probably be a bit left over for the next few days, just for him to have something different, because they like variation anyway, doodles, and he's only got that one food he can eat at the moment, the Royal Canin stuff. So yeah, he's proven to me that money can't buy you love. The other thing that has really, really surprised me is that you don't need as many words in life as I think you do, or as I thought you did. And I know they always say that apparently women use on average 5,000 words. I don't know, it's probably not a day, because there'll be many, many more than that. But it's something like women use an average of 5,000 words, where men use an average of 1,000 or something like that. So women are already known to speak more. But I'm definitely one of those. I cannot say anything in short, you know, even like Kev's always pointed it out to me, you know, like if I emailed like the trainer about Watson, or if I emailed, even when we emailed Andy the walker to say, will you be able to walk the dog? Kev was laughing because he said, you wrote an email going, we've got this puppy, this is how old he was, this is why we need a walker because of my joint problem, and, you know, blah, 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 blah. And Kev was saying he would have sent an email going, we need a walker, are you available? So I know that I use a lot of words, but what I've realised with Watson is just there's ways to communicate without words, and words are not as important as I thought they were, because we know when he's feeling out of sorts, and clearly he doesn't tell us. It's just the way he is. But we've got a bell that he rings to go out when he needs to go to the bathroom, but he doesn't always get to the bell, because what happens is if we're sitting in the living room, he will walk to the door, and instead of just walking out of the living room door, he stops at the living room door, looks back at us, and then walks forward. And if he does that, it means that he wants you to follow him and he wants to go out. And if we don't get it the first time, he stops again in the hall and looks around as if to say, you coming or not? And there's lots of things like that he does that you just think, you know, and he noses you when, like he went the other day and nosed his lead. And I was like, I'm guessing you want to walk then, you know. And it's just amazing to me how many things can be communicated without words. You know, when he's anxious, he comes and snuggles in. There's just many examples, if you like. The other thing that he's taught me is to stop and enjoy the simple things, because I'll never forget this. My friend, when I first got Watson, my friend said that she loved nothing more than going for a walk with her boy. And I said to her, that doesn't appeal to me. Because although I like walking like a planned walk. So, you know, you plan to go, you take your supplies, you get all ready for the weather and you go for a walk up the hills. I always liked that anyway. So to have a dog with me was just great. But to walk with a dog along the beach, she'd said, I like to go for a walk with my dog on the beach on a Saturday morning. And I said, it just doesn't appeal to me, because I was terrified of other dogs when I got Watson. And I don't know what else about it didn't appeal to me. It was just, I suppose it was because the thought in my head that it had to be done. And like holidays, we've always gone for city break holidays and things like that, you know, and I always have to be doing something. I'm not somebody that stops and smells the roses, that kind of thing. But like going to Loch Lomond and seeing him running around and enjoying himself is like the happiest I've been in my life, I would say. And it's something so simple. It's just watching him enjoying the environment, you know. And I've also enjoyed going for walks with him, like especially our Sunday walks, where family walks, we normally go somewhere new. And just walking and watching Watson is just so enjoyable. And it's just really made me stop and enjoy simple things that I wouldn't have enjoyed before, you know. And I could sit and watch Watson sleeping or stretching, or I could just sit and stare at him. And there is nothing else in this world, as anybody that knows me will tell you, that makes me stop. You know, I don't go to pubs and whatnot, because the thought of just sitting doing nothing and drinking just doesn't appeal to me. So yeah, he's made me stop and smell the roses, if you like. The other thing, he has made me more selfless. And so actually these next two things I think that you could combine into one, but he's made me more selfless. And by that I mean, I remember when I had anemia, I just had my blood test, by the way, and my results are that my iron is normal. So what we do now is we'll wait another 2 months. I don't take any more iron for the next 2 months. I have another blood test and see if my levels are low again. I'm pretty sure I'll feel it, if I'll feel and know the feeling now if my iron is low. So hopefully it doesn't come back, because that's the problem. Then you have to see, well, why am I losing iron, you know? Anyway, when I was anemic, but I didn't know what it was, I was just feeling extremely tired in the afternoon, and I just needed to lie down, which, as I just said, is nothing like me at all. I don't sit down and watch TV. I don't, you know, the only time I sit down and watch TV is if I'm doing something that means I can have the TV on in the background, or a half an hour or an hour in the evening with Kev occasionally. So I remember lying on the sofa and Watson ringing the bell, and it was like, okay, I need to be selfless here. Like, I've got to get up and open the door for him. And I wanted to get up and open the door for him. And I kind of always knew that that's what we were missing by not having children. We don't have children. And I thought, you know, having it'd be nice to have something to make you more selfless and not to think about my pain so much. So with my knee being so sore, I don't care about my knee. I would take him for a walk and be in pain. You know, it really doesn't bother me. So it's definitely made me more selfless. Not that I think I was selfish before, but you can't help but be a bit selfish when you've only got the two of you to kind of look out for, you know. But like I said, having him, I would definitely take him for a walk and couldn't care less if it hurt my knee, you know. And the kind of fifth and final thing, which I was telling Kev about yesterday, it was making me all tearful. Thankfully, I don't feel quite as emotional today. But it's kind of the same thing, I think. I feel like he's shown me how to be a mother. And like I said, I haven't had the opportunity to be a mother, but he's given me that. And this is what I imagine it is to be a mother. And the specific example I was thinking about was when he had that ear dart in his ear. Do you remember earlier this year? It's only like a month or two ago. I took him to our local vet, and they said, yeah, he's got an ear dart, a corn dart or something right up against his eardrum. And he said, I'm going to have to sedate him just now, because if he shakes his head again, it could burst his eardrum. You then need to carry him to the car because he'll be sedated. You know, you might get a little way, and then you need to carry him. And then you need to drive to this other surgery, which is like the hospital. And I had no clue where it was. It was a new place. I'm not very good with driving to new places at all. I just tend to not do that. And also, I'm very sensitive when it comes to Watson. Anything's wrong with him, you know, I was crying leaving him at the Bloomin' Groomers because I know he doesn't like it. But I had to get him across to this place, carry him in there. They would then give him a general anaesthetic and take this ear dart out. So he walked for a little way from the vet, and then he started kind of staggering. So I picked him up and carried him to the car. Managed to keep myself together, put him in the car, put him on the passenger seat, and I've got a little clip-in seatbelt there. And then I was just bawling my eyes out, and I phoned Kev and said, look, this is what's happening. I've got to get him to the other vet. And then I was like, right, I need to go. And at that moment, I was kind of like, I felt like falling apart. I felt like just sitting there and crying, because not just because that had happened to him, but because so many things have happened to Watson. There has been so many things wrong with him in the year that he's lived that it's just crazy. You know, I've got it on a spreadsheet simply because I keep details of everything so that we can see what might have been causing his itching or his upset tummy, etc. And we've been to the vet 20 times in the last year, so that's more than once a month. It's probably more like twice a month, isn't it? Because we've had him 10 months, yeah, twice a month on average. And it was just the last straw for me, you know. But I remember sitting there thinking, the only responsibility you have right now is to get him to that other vet. Whether you're nervous about finding this place or not, whether you want to cry your eyes out because of what he's going through, none of that matters, and you need to get yourself together, because sitting here crying your eyes out is not being a mother to him. You know what I mean? Like, all my responsibility at that point was to get him to that other vet. And then you can fall apart if you like when he's being dealt with, and you know, and at that it did make me think of being a mother at that time, and I thought, you know what, that's what I need to do. And so I put it into my phone, put the thing in my phone, and thought, I'll find it. I will find it. I'm now determined to find it. Drove there, got him in there, and then I did fall apart, sitting in the waiting room, crying my eyes out. Specifically, I was all right until he came round from the anaesthetic, and I could hear him crying. And they were saying, the receptionist was telling me it's because he's confused, but you weren't allowed to see him at that time, you know. But I could hear him kind of howling, and it was awful. But yeah, that's what I mean by he's made me into a mother, because you have to think of him. He's a dependent, you know, and you have to think of, you don't have to, but that's what you do. You want to think of them before yourself. And Kev was saying he can't believe how much he loves him. I mean, we're both absolutely besotted with him, and we'll sometimes both just lie on the floor and look at him, you know. And he also kind of makes things a bit more lighthearted, because I was telling my friend that I met my friend for lunch last week, and I was thinking about it on the Friday. I met her on the Saturday, and on the Friday I was thinking about the fact that she's got a dog now, and her dog died And I was thinking, oh, it's so nice to be going to meet her, and she's got a dog and she's all happy, and I was so happy for her. But I started thinking about the fact that when I met her after her dog had died, I had tried to keep myself together, but I got upset and she was upset, and we were both stood there outside this restaurant crying our eyes out. And then I thought, and typical me to be so blooming morbid, and then I was like, oh my God, one day that's going to be me. You know, that's going to be me meeting Tracy for lunch after that's happened to me. And, you know, it'll be that upset all over again. And it started making me really upset, the thought of it. And I was in here with Watson, and he was lying in his bed. And I started crying, and I got my tissues, and I went over to him and I was stroking him, and I was like, what's Mummy ever going to do without you, you know? And he did that thing that a lot of dogs do, and he went, it just made me laugh, you know, because I thought if he did have words, they'd be saying, for God's sake, Mum, you're so dramatic, you know, I'm not even a year old. Like, don't mourn me just yet, you know. And it just, like I said, he makes things very light-hearted. Even if Kev and I are sort of talking about something serious, he'll do something, you know. I was saying there but it was something to do with, because Watson, I just heard Watson going out the door, and because Kev's here actually, he's working from home this week. I feel like I sound a little bit sort of tired, or as if I'm ill or something. I've not got my usual vigour, and I've no idea what it is. I don't feel that way. I still do feel my usual self. I may be a little bit tired, but just because we had a little bit of a lie-in, and that we didn't get up until 7:30 this morning. So I do feel a little bit of a go slow, but not, I don't feel ill or depressed or anything like that, you know. I've got a lot of things to get done today, actually. I've wrapped up his presents for tomorrow, and like I said, we're making him a nice dinner tomorrow. But what other things I've got on my list today? Let me have a look over there. Oh, you know, it's silly things like I need to do my nails because they're driving me mad. I peeled all the nail polish off, and I need to do those. And I need to sort out my pills, which is a really boring job, but it's one of those things I've got to do. You know, I'm one of those, like a 90-year-old with the pills for morning, lunchtime, evening, that kind of thing. So I've got to sort those out. But anyway, I think that's everything about Watson. This was totally a video dedicated to him. I'm absolutely totally in love with him. I'm writing on my blog. I'm doing, if I can get it done, that is, I'm getting a letter to my puppy is going to be the blog that I do on his blog, because on my website I've got my diary, his diary, a diary about Watson, and then I've got a beauty blog, you know. So on the Watson blog I'll put a letter to my puppy, which is pretty much going to be saying the same thing, you know. It's just me being gushy. And then tomorrow on his actual birthday there's a video going up which is going to be him from 10 weeks to 1 year, which I've already done. And so it's just a compilation of all the videos over the year, and then a little photo thing at the end which shows you how quickly they grow. So it'll be nice to see that up, and it'll be nice to always have that, you know. And I thought, well, I'll do that for the next year, but of course it's never going to be the same, because like for this last year I've made sure that I've got all the ages of him and all the dates on all the photos, etc., so that I could sort it in order. But actually the next year it won't really matter, because he won't change. I wouldn't think he'll change very much. I think he's as big as he's going to get. He's quite big now, and he's bigger than a miniature Australian Labradoodle. He's more like a medium. And I can just about lift him up now, but he is big, and we love his size. He's just the perfect size for me. So yeah, next year won't be quite the same, you know what I mean, as that first year. But well, I was going to tell you something else and I completely forgot what it was. Anyway, this morning I have used the Las Vegas palette by Makeup Geek, and I kind of like the look. And I've used my Revlon Colour Stay foundation just because that used to be what I used every single day, and I haven't used it for so long that I thought I'd give it a go. I've got my hair out of the way because I've just, you know, I've had it cut, but this end bit is flicking up. If there's any hairdressers watching, please tell me what I can do, because I'm so tempted to get a pair of scissors and just chop it there. But will that look silly? I don't know. I tried to look up YouTube to see if there was anything that could tell me what to do, because I think it needs to be sort of shaped into my face, doesn't it? That's the only bit that's driving me mad. Otherwise I love the cut, but if I put this down it's even worse. It's really like a big, I thought that was what a cow flick was called, but I don't know. But I need to get rid of it, and I know me, I'll be tempted to just chop into it. So feel free to tell me not to, because I know it's the wrong thing to do. But anyway, I hope you guys are having a lovely day. Thank you for all your support with Watson over the last year, because there's been so many things wrong with him and whatnot. You have seen me in tears, and you've seen me frustrated and worried, and, you know, being a new mum, not knowing what to do. Do you remember from the very beginning, not knowing how to stop him screaming when he was on his own in a room? And, you know, we've come on in leaps and bounds, and so many things we've heard in the last couple of weeks that just make us kind of beam with pride. And even like last night, the woman that runs the class that Kevs goes to, some of you that have been with me a while will remember this. Do you remember in the first couple of weeks we got out a trainer, and I was furious because she put her hands round Watson's neck and I wasn't impressed. I still think she was wrong to do that. But anyway, she is one of the leaders of this class, but we don't have much choice because there's not many other classes, and it's a really good class actually. And she came up to Kev and said, you know, all your hard work has paid off. You've got a really well-behaved, lovely puppy. The walker says it to us all the time. The daycare says it to us all the time. You know, people are always telling us what a lovely dog he is, what a lovely natured dog he is. And some of it is luck because, you know, he could have had a completely different personality. You don't know what you're going to get. But some of it is the hard work that we've put in training him, you know. And it's ridiculous that guy that I had out, the behaviourist, who is absolutely brilliant, but he said, you've been unlucky. And I don't think he meant it. He's got 8 dogs himself, but you've been unlucky. And we don't feel unlucky. We feel like we're completely lucky to have Watson. I really feel so honoured and lucky to have him. Not that he particularly chose us, but I feel it's an honour to have such a lovely natured dog, you know. And also what, I can't remember what I was going to say there. Oh, I know, like I feel like it's just meant to be because of all these problems he's had. I don't know that everybody would have gone to all the trouble that we've gone to try and figure out what's wrong with him and make the best life for him, because we do have only him to focus on, so we've been able to do that, you know. So hopefully people think he's lucky as well, which I know you guys, like I said, thank you for everybody's support, because all the way through you've given me words of encouragement, told me that you think I'm a good mum, you know, and it's been wonderful, and it's been really encouraging, especially at the beginning where I didn't have a blooming clue what I was doing. I'm still desperate to have another one. I would still love to have another dog in the house, but it's just we can't do it at the moment, not while we don't know what's going on with money, you know. Until I start earning, we just can't figure that out. It just wouldn't be a wise decision. So I have emailed the trainer to ask about, you know, the high energy. That is kind of the only problem I'm left with. It doesn't mean he's not itching, because he is. He was gnawing his paw this morning, but we've got the test in January. We kind of have to put that aside at the moment. We've figured out his food. We've even got an adult food for him, so I think we're okay with that. But this high energy thing is just crazy. So I emailed the trainer, because he's great, and he said, you know, you can email me anytime. And I said to him in the email, I'm happy to have you out for another session if you think it would be helpful, but this is my problem. He goes for a walk first thing, then he goes for another walk. He gets a walk in the evening, but in between the walks he's awake, he's high energy. And he gave me a lot of great pointers, and he said that the walks won't be as beneficial to him if he doesn't rest in between. And that's really good. You know how I was saying I need some words in my head to tell me why it would be a good thing for me to ignore him and make him settle. So that's really good, that okay, he's not going to benefit from the exercise. If he's overtired, he's not going to enjoy it as much. So that's a good reason for me to make sure I ignore him, make him settle, don't give him things to play with. The other thing he said is it would be helpful to not do it in this room, because I'm there and then it's too much of a temptation for him to come and sit by me and ask for me to play with him. So I'm trying to get him to settle in the hall where he's on his own and in his own space. And I just keep going out and getting him to settle in his bed. I did this last night. I started it last night. Kev went to the range and he'd been for a walk, so I knew that he was tired. And I kept on doing it. Eventually he did go to sleep, so I was really pleased that it worked. It took a while, and he did say you'll have a struggle on the first time you do it. And then the two other things that he said to do, which is really, really helpful, is he said you need to do more training on the walks, because the reason the walks are not tiring him out as much as they used to is because at the beginning we were training him to not pull on the lead, training him to walk to heel, which we say with me. We were training him to stop at curbs. You know, we were doing a lot of training with him on the walks, whereas now, because he does all of that, his mind isn't getting challenged on the walks and he's walking the same area. We can't really make any new areas. So I'm going to look up over the next couple of days things that we can train him on the walk, like maybe do some scent work or something like that, to give him a little bit more from the walk. Now, I can't do that with the walker, but if he has it first thing in the morning and then he has it in the evening with Kev, then hopefully that should help things. But what I'm also going to do is I might, instead of training him in the house in the afternoon, I might take him out for half an hour and do some training with him outside. And hopefully the combination of those two things, it still does mean he'll be getting 4 walks, which I won't be able to maintain forever. But even if those 4 things meant that he was quiet for the rest of the day, that would be a start, you know. And the final thing the trainer said was to use my Adaptil spray for an extra hit. He said just spray that in wherever you're settling him down and it will definitely help. So I'm really pleased. And he's so kind because he hasn't charged for this, you know, and he could have just easily said, I'll need to come out and see you and charge you another £45. And I would have paid it, to be honest, because his information is just invaluable, you know. And he's able to see it from an objective, subjective point of view, you know. And he knows that what my worries will be, which I think is why he said his exercise won't be as useful to him unless he learns how to rest. Anyway, I have rambled for a long time. I know I'm way over my 15 minutes. I've got to transfer this onto the computer. That's okay. I'm going to go and make myself a cup of tea. I think Kev's going to go to the range, and then Watson will be back. And it's weird having Kev here, actually. It's really kind of thrown me this week. And it makes me more relaxed, actually, when Kev's here, because I feel like it's a holiday because he's here, you know. And so I really have to G myself up to, like, no, I'm going to get on with my work. I'm not going to sit and chat to you. Or anyway, thank you very much for listening. Wish Watson a happy birthday. And I hope you enjoy the video that goes up tomorrow of him. And I'll speak to you again soon.